What's up, everybody? Give me just a second as I get my guest on the show. What's up, everybody? Is everybody having a good 4th of July so far? Give me a second. I just sent Antonio the invite for him to show up on the show. First of all, it's early, but you know what? It's Independence Day. We do what we want to do in this country, right? Supposedly. But I'll touch on that in just a second, too. So all right, now we got him. Now, most of y'all know. So today, there you go, my man.
My main man, what's going on?
Not much. Can't call it. So if this is your first time watching, Keep It Moving with me, Ivan Hunt, your man, right? I'm coming live from Miami, Florida. But today is a little bit different. So I really wasn't going to have a show today because the network is really closed. But I started thinking about it, right? And, what is Keep It Moving all about? It's all about empowering, motivating, encouraging, inspiring people to take ownership over their life so they can regain control and live a life that's full of purpose, passion, and meaning, right? So, I start off every show with a little chit chat with Ivan. And like I said, I wasn't going to have a show this week. And I started thinking about it. Like, okay, wait a minute. It's Independence Day. So if you notice, I want to show you my shirt, right? It says, I am a man. I started thinking about Independence Day. And, independence represents freedom. And there's a lot of ways I could have gone with this. But the biggest way I decided to go with it was freedom. What does that really mean? And freedom of the mind, right? So we live in a country that says we're the home of the brave and the land of the free, right? But there's really two Independence Days that our country one of them, our country doesn't recognize. So in July 4th, 1776, we became independent from Great Britain. Well, in the midst of that independence, there was a whole group of other people who were not free, right? That was the slaves. The slaves in our country at that time, they were not free. So yeah, we gained our independence from Great Britain, but that freedom really was just for a certain group of people, while another group of people didn't have their freedom. Because even at that time, they did not consider slaves or blacks to be equal, right? Like they were just a percentage of what they considered a man to be. So this shirt here represents I'm a man. So when Dr. King got killed, he was in Memphis, and they had a march, and the protest was about, sanitation workers, basically trying to have equal rights as other co-workers. So the slogan was, I am a man. So the other Independence Day is June 19th, 1883, 85, give or take. I'm off maybe a year or two. But that was when the slaves became free. So there's two Independence Days within our country. And I think it's important that we understand that. So also with independence, man, it's freedom of the mind. Now, why did that touch me? And why did that make a big deal to me? Well, our system, and system being our education system, really teaches or produces in-the-box thinkers, right? So we have this economy that is a capitalistic economy. It is driven by employees. So if you ask me, what do I do? Well, I'm a transformational coach. Well, what does that mean? I turn employees of life into CEOs over their lives. So I help you break free from that matrix. I saw a post that Antonio Smith put up earlier, that he watched the Matrix because he wanted the people around him to be unplugged. What does that mean to be unplugged? Well, if you remember the Matrix, to be unplugged meant you could think for yourself, right? And that's what freedom to me really means, the ability for me to be able to think for myself and to be able to make decisions independent of social programming and our societal norms. And so that's one of the things that really captures me and inspires me and motivates me. And what makes me want to be even a better coach is to help my clients to become independent thinkers, to break free or unplug from the matrix, so to speak. How do you do that? Well, first, you got to really understand who you are. And if you don't understand who you are, then you're just whoever you're told to be. So the biggest part of it is, what is your belief system? What is it that you believe? Because your belief system is really going to be the foundation of who you are. And your belief system is, maybe it's your religious views. Well, within each religion, there are certain concepts or accepted norms that we just automatically assume. Assume meaning we take on, we agree with, and we live our life accordingly. And then also within some of those religious beliefs, there are certain things that they say you can't do. So we live with these things. Your belief system is something that you are taught at a very early age. But when you grow up, you also have a decision to make now. You have the decision to see if this is what you really want to be. Do you really want to follow this particular belief system? Now, I'm not trying to get into any religious debate or anything like that. That's not what this is about. It's just simply to challenge you and ask yourself, well, what is it that I really believe? Because once you understand what you believe, then you can start looking at your values. Well, what's really important to me? I value family, I value fun, and I value money, right? Well, not fun, service. To me, service is fun. So I value family, I value service, I value money. Money because I want to make sure I have enough to take care of my family and to do things for my family. Money because in order for me to serve people, right, I need some type of, financial backing, right? So that's why it's important to me. That's why my three values are. So every decision I make, I can look at myself and say, okay, is it falling within one of these three categories or all three categories? What are my other values? Start looking at your values so you can start making better decisions for yourself. But see, if you don't know those things and if you really can't clearly articulate those things, then you can't really make effective decisions. So you're constantly going to be an employee of life. Life is going to tell you what to do. Life is going to be your boss. Well, if you really believe that you have the ability to manifest things for yourself, right? Some people call themselves master manifestors. Why? Because they can see what it is they want and they know how to trust their instinct. They know they're receptive to opportunities. They're receptive to those around them. They're receptive to collaborations. They're receptive to open doors. So they're able to manifest their future, whatever it is they want. But if you don't know, if you're an employee, you're just being told what to do. But when you become the CEO over your life, right, now you could tell life what to do. You dictate life. Now life is going to happen. Things are going to happen. I understand that. That's out of our control. I get it. That's not the point. The point of it is you have the chance and the ability and the opportunity and the decision, because now you're aware of it, right, that you can manifest your own life, that you can tell life how you want to live life instead of life telling you how to live. Now that's an empowered, that's powerful. When you understand that you have that kind of, today's, Independence Day, we're talking about freedom, that you have the freedom to make a decision to control your life, to tell life what to do. Now that's powerful. That's just extremely powerful. So that's my little rant a little bit for the day. That's my little chit chat for the day. That independence, you have the freedom to dictate life. You have the freedom to become CEO over your life. So I'm gonna move in. There's no commercial breaks today. There's no commercial breaks. So I want to introduce my guest. And there's not many people who captivate me. I'll put it that way. And when I met this man, instantly he caught my attention. Now, why? Well, was it his charisma? Was it his confidence? Was it his knowledge? I wasn't really sure. But for whatever reasons, he caught my attention. And I met him at a Les Brown seminar. And he's actually CEO and Director of Business Development and Operations for the Les Brown Institute. And so if you watch this show, then I'm a huge Les Brown fan. Went to the seminar, and he gave, he was one of the keynotes for one of the sidebar seminars. And I listened to this guy, and he challenged me on a mental level. And I think that's what it was. I found somebody who could challenge me mentally that I hadn't been challenged in a while. because I had been in corporate, I was successful, so I got bored. So I hadn't really come across somebody who could challenge me mentally. But this young man did. And his name is Antonio T. Smith Jr. So on behalf of Keep It Moving family, I'm gonna do the applause for him. I'm gonna clap for him. You don't have to clap. I'm gonna clap for him because I actually joined. He has a business institute, and he'll touch on that, I'm sure. I was so intrigued by him, and I connected with him in such a deep level that I actually joined his institute, and it was one of the best, not just financial decisions I've made, but one of the best entrepreneurial decisions that I've made to join his institute and become a student of his and his coaching team, and have one of his coaches on his staff become one of my business coaches, Brian A. Johnson. And I'm very, very grateful for Antonio Smith and Antonio Smith School of Business, or Business School. So if you're ready to learn about business and you're ready to break free and gain some type of financial independence, then today is your lucky day, because this guy here is about to set it off. So Antonio Smith, say hello to everybody that's watching.
Hello, everybody that's watching Keep It Moving family. I am a fan of the show. I'm a big fan of Ivan, and I remember him was in the room, and we kept vibing off each other during the keynote. Excited to see all of you and your comments and the emoji claps that are going on. Thank you very much.
Yes. So I'm going to jump right into this.
Sure.
I want you to tell them what you do.
I make profitable people more profitable. If you are trying to do anything, I'm going to expand that.
And so I just want, because I remember something you said, during that talk was, if you can ask me any day of the week, and I'm going to give you the same answer.
I make profitable people more profitable.
Right. And that really inspired me, because that really challenged me to come up with, my niche. What is it that I do? I make employees of life. I transform employees of life into CEOs over that life. And you ask me any day of the week, that's what my answer is going to be.
That's it.
Tell us what makes Antonio Smith Antonio Smith. So tell me about your background. Tell me how you got to be where you are today.
Sure. I was born in 1981. In 1985, my parents got addicted to crack cocaine, and then they left me for abandonment. And then right after that, I would find solace in a trash can. From 6 to 14, I would be homeless, living inside of a trash can. I would age out of CPS custody at 18. And I remember one day I was looking up at the sky and I saw this blinking star, but it wasn't a star, right? It was this plane. And I remember being in that trash can. It's hot, and I had the little dumpster door closed so mosquitoes wouldn't get at me. And I remember saying, man, one day I'm going to be on planes and I'm just going to go across the world. And you got to remember, I'm from the hood. I never got out my city. But now I travel the whole world teaching people, and no matter what trash can you're in, physically or metaphorically, if you put your mind on the airplane, your body must follow. And it reminds me of a book by Spencer Johnson named Peaks and Valleys. And there was this valley guy who was in a valley place with valley friends and a valley job and a valley parents. And when he wanted to go to the mountaintop, he said, Mom, I want to go to the mountaintop. And of course, all your valley people would tell you what you can't do, even though they can't do it themselves. But then eventually he would climb the mountaintop and he would do that. And that's what I do today. So that's my story. I love it. And I'm just a mountaintop climber that's willing to blaze a trail. And wherever my mind goes, my body must follow.
Empowering and powerful. So, but it really doesn't. So let me ask you a little bit more challenge of a question.
Sure.
So you said that, you were looking up, you saw this the sparkling star, but realized it was a plane. And you made up your mind that you want to be on a plane. Well, I can make up my mind that I want to be on a boat, but that doesn't get me to that boat.
That's true.
What step then, what were some of the early steps and decisions that you had to make? I have a saying, a life with no options is no life at all, right? So how did you start creating options in your life?
That's fantastic. In fact, I could simplify all the steps for all of you into a simple phrase. I was willing to die for it. Period, point blank. And today, I don't do anything I'm not willing to die for. You have to remember, I'm 6 years old, 54 pounds at that. I've got people trying to steal food that I had to steal myself. And I decided I was going to get out the trash can. But I
Right.
was willing to die for that. And
Right.
today I am extremely successful because anything I do, I am willing to die for it. That is the simplicity of life, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a backup plan, if you're not willing to die for what you want, then what's going to happen is the moment you reach a point of uncomfort, you're going to quit. And quitters never win, and
Right.
you cannot be prosperous and quitting. It just don't work that way. To simplify it in its greatest form, I am willing to die for what I want. That is that. That is the simple answer there. Real talk.
There's a success YouTube video that I watch a lot, and Will Smith was saying something very similar. That if it's me and you and we're on a treadmill, I'm going to die
That's
before I
it.
get off, before you. I'm just going to die. There's just no way around it. Either you're getting off first, or I'm just going to die on this treadmill because I absolutely refuse to lose. Now,
All facts.
but even then, how did you start? Okay, so you saw the plane, you put your mind there, said, okay, I'm going to travel the world. I'm willing to die for whatever it is I want to achieve.
Yep.
Then what? What do you do next?
I got out.
Okay, you got out, but so
Mm-hmm.
one things that I do as a coach is I use a SWOT analysis,
Got
right?
it.
I help my clients look at their strengths, their weaknesses. What are some of your opportunities,
Yep.
threats, and what are some of the things that you're going to need to, what are some of the things that could prevent you? Is there an addiction or
Yep.
whatever it might be? So, how did you start identifying
Yep.
where you wanted to go next?
Sure. I basically did a couple of things. I had to realize I didn't know anything. That's the first thing I had to realize. And I start learning what people would teach me because I didn't know anything. That is the most beautiful part of life. Most people, actually, I would say all people, if you have lack in your life, it's because you don't know something in that area. And you think you know everything, so now you're arrogant and you can't let Ivan and the Keep It Moving family pour new information into you. That's why you have deficiencies in that area. So the first thing I did when I got out the trash can is I realized I don't know how to stay out the trash can. The second thing I did when I got out the trash can is I realized I needed something, some sort of skill set, and school wasn't working for me. The wonderful thing about me that I have an advantage over other people is I never grew up in a world with rules. You see, most people, your parents teach you things and they teach you how to be comfortable. They love you. They don't
Right.
teach you how to be prosperous. They teach you how to be comfortable. They teach you how to be safe. I never had that before. So and immediately, once I figured out I don't know anything, and I immediately said, I need to figure out something that's going to manipulate this system and make me some money. I figured out I had one heck of a memory. So I would go around memorizing things, and kids would give me quarters and stuff because they didn't think I could memorize some stuff. Then after the memory, after figuring out what I wanted to do, I went and I became very competitive and I dominated every single thing that I did after that.
So what was the
So
first thing after, and I think that's kind of what I was discussing earlier about your belief systems, right? That we're taught, certain belief systems. So within those belief systems, there's all these rules and roles that, we're assumed to play. Me and my dad were out in the golf course last week, and I don't know, we both had a horrible tee shot on one hole. And I was like, Daddy, I said, man, just tee up again. He said, you sure? I said, of course. I said, it's our life, our rules. We do, we make up our rules
That's it.
as we choose. And that's, that's a very liberating thing once you understand and grasp that concept. What are some of the things that you do to help some of your clients realize that they can change the rules that govern their life?
Yeah, there are no rules. Period, point blank. Any rule that it is a universal rule. There's not many. There are not many universal rules. You can't breathe underwater. That's pretty much a universal rule unless you get some equipment to break it. If you jump off a building, you will fall. That is a universal rule. If you plant poison, you will reap poison. That is a universal rule. There are only the first, third laws of motion, three laws of thermodynamics. It ain't that many universal rules.
Right.
You all are adding hundreds of rules. I'll give you an example how crazy your rules are. If I run up to a stoplight and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I run the stoplight and you with me, you're going to go, oh, you don't run the stoplight. And I'm going to be like, you're crazy. I can run the stoplight. It's no problem. And you're going to say, no, you're crazy. You're breaking the rules. And I'm going to say, no, the stoplight is to control traffic. There's no traffic. And then you're going to say, well, what if it was a cop right there? And I'm going to say, well, then I would stop. And then you would say, well, then you following rules. I say, no, the cop means traffic, and it just serves me not to get into a wreck or to get some ticket that I can't pay for or I don't want to pay for. You are only supposed to follow rules when they serve you. If not, then you get up, you get out your ego, you get out of their system of control, and you start establishing your own worth, your own rights. Even if you have to go play golf with your dad and say, let's redo this hole all over again. Your rules. I'm not talking about morality. I'm talking about rules. Think about it for a second. If you follow rules, that means someone has won before you and decided to uphold your poverty condition by making you follow something they enforce, but they don't follow. When all of you tell your kids to go to bed, that don't mean you finna go to bed. That's not what you do. Rules are established by winners to keep losers in their losing condition. And until you realize you cannot follow rules, then you're going to continue to be in your losing condition.
Define losing condition then.
Poverty.
What exactly
there's only winning and there's only losing. Anything that you made up to put in between is just some comfortable word to justify your losing. You're saying, I'm trying. Well, let's think about this word trying. When you say I'm trying, you're telling your subconscious, hey, don't let me succeed. No, let me get just close enough to almost succeed so I can keep the repetitious cycle of trying. There's only winning and there's only losing. There is only prosperity and there's only poverty. Les Brown actually says it better than anybody. He says there's winners and there's losers, and that people have not yet figured out how to win. And that's true, but that's all it is. There are no rules. There's just winning and losing. And losing is anything that does not serve your happiness or walk you to your supreme destiny. That's losing.
You know, I put a post up yesterday, I think it was, and I used to always have this saying, you know, I hated losing more than I loved winning. Right? So you hear that a lot as a competitor. You know, I hate losing more than I love winning. And what I realized was, even when I won, it was almost a relief because I didn't lose.
Yeah.
So there was no joy in the winning. And you know, the winning was really rooted in fear, you know, just fear that I was going to lose. So I worked so hard that I would win, but there was no satisfaction. And I've had to stop and reassess that and say, well, I just love winning, period. You know, there is no losing. I just love winning, period.
That's right.
What's you know, there's something there's a goal that you have right now that you want to achieve. And I want you to share what that goal is.
Sure. I want to be a billionaire. And I understand that the way to be a billionaire is you have to serve people. So I am currently creating 100,000 millionaires so I can become a billionaire. That is my goal. And as I said earlier, I am willing to die for that goal.
And when you say you want to create 100,000 millionaires, you know, I know how to make 100,000, right? That's something I've done. And I've said it on this show before. What I don't know how to do at this point, much like what we were discussing about Les Brown, you know, there's winning, losing, and those who yet learn how to win. You know, I don't know how to learn, or I don't know how to earn $1 million. I'm learning. I'm grasping the concept. Thank you very much, by the way. What is some of your what is? Can you give me like 3 fundamental principles within that scope of making a millionaire?
Absolutely. I'm glad you actually said 3, because I think I can pull off 3. 3 fundamental principles. I'm going to go practical, philosophical, and a bit spiritual. I'll start in practical order. Practical. You need 3 things to be a millionaire. You need a product, you need a business system, and you need to serve people. Everybody write that down. You need a product, you need a business system, and you need to serve people. That's the practical way. Now, let's go a little bit philosophical. In order to become a millionaire, have $1 million, Jim Rohn would tell you you need to grow out mentally to $1 million, or that $1 million will dwindle down to you. Bob Proctor would tell you that in your awareness is the only thing you have in your life. So the reason that you don't have $1 million is because that $1 million found you and found your awareness and equaled what you are aware of. That's the philosophical part. In order to become a millionaire, you have to take your mind out to $1 million. Remember, wherever your mind goes, your body will follow. Now, here's the spiritual part. In order to become a millionaire, honestly, my religion is love. My denomination is prosperity. That is it. My religion is love. My denomination is prosperity. And you need to eat that, embody that on a spiritual level, because there is no such thing as lack, and you do not get to be a poor righteous teacher. You do not get to be what you call a disciple. You can't be a disciple with no fruit. You can't be talking about how good God is, but you don't have a car. You must be out here with the love religion and the prosperity denomination. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't ooze this, then you can't become it. You are simply what you keep inside of you. Three things: business system, product, and then serve people. Grow out to money or it will dwindle down to you. And then make sure that love is your religion, because you can't be out here being a butthole to people and expecting the universe not to be one to you. And then on top of that, you have to bleed prosperity, because abundance is your birthright, and $1 million is not a lot of money. And you were born to be having a lot of money, because good people do good things with a lot of money, according to Lisa Nichols.
Right. Now, describe, I get the part of a product.
Yep.
I get the part of serving.
Yep.
Right. So what do you mean then by having a business system?
That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. That's what most people don't have. So it gets from 6 figures to $1 million is a whole different mindset. This is where business systems come in place. Don't confuse a business plan with business system, although a business plan will be filled with business systems. A business plan automatically puts you in a business system. So if any of you have the opportunity or the connections to write a business plan, then go out there and do that, because it would include business systems. A business system is a vehicle that then will multiply you or compound your energy, like compound interest, and then that thing will grow you to $1 million or whatever you have. Think about it this way. All of you live in some sort of city, mostly, unless you're somewhere rural on some rural internet. Shout out to you for preparing yourself for the zombie apocalypse, okay? Now, most of you live in some sort of metropolis or something like that. Now, think about it. Your city right now, your current city is paying millions of dollars to bring in tourists. I don't care if you live in a small city. They're paying millions of dollars to bring in tourism into your city. And the reason why you're complaining about traffic is because somebody like me is creating that traffic and putting that traffic into my bank account. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. What you need to think about is the reason you can't catch the money is because you don't have a net to catch it. The money is like, let's just say the main street in your city is called Broadway. All those millions of dollars are going down that main street. All you got to do is put out a net to catch it. That's the business system, not the product. The business system is you creating a vehicle like Facebook, a vehicle like Uber. You need some sort of vehicle, a vehicle like the ATS Business University, a vehicle like the Keep It Moving platform. You need my first book was called Keep Walking. It was a 40-year slip, but you need a vehicle to catch it. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the brains. Warren Buffett says this. All of you have the brains to be a millionaire. All of you have the talent to be a millionaire. Now you need the discipline and the habits of a millionaire. And millionaires sit back, they go live on Facebook, and then there's a system behind them making money. By the time I would get off of this live interview, I would have made a couple of $1,000s because of my business system. You need a system. Think of a system as a vehicle. Benjamin Franklin said compound interest is the greatest force on planet Earth. If
Right.
you take a grain of rice and put it on a chessboard and double it until you fill all the chessboards, you will have over 30 trillion grains of rice. That's a vehicle. And that's how all of you need to be thinking, because you trying to do everything yourself when you need to get with Ivan, get with some coaches, and let them compound you to your greatness. Long answer, but pretty accurate.
No. A great answer. And I want you to define something real quick. You said
Sure.
That's what the ATS does. What is ATS?
That's just my initials, really. My
So
initials are Antonio. My name is Antonio Theodore Smith Jr. So ATS, I just wasn't clever. I just named it after my initials. But I recognize that, holy crap, I'm a brand. I am a person that's constantly lifting people and getting people to a high level. So I took my name and I created a business system out of it. I am a resource. If you watch anything from me on any level, it could be podcast, it could be video, audio, it could be a live feed, I could be drinking a beer, playing a PlayStation. You're still going to learn something from me because I am a resource. I am a resource. The days of being relevant and not a resource are over. This is the internet age. Everybody has a Facebook Live. The reason why Ivan's works so well is because he's a resource. You come to him, you learn something, you make some money, you go out there and you duplicate yourself. The ATS Business University is simply just a resource that I created how I became a millionaire, broke it down to practical steps. We do lots of live trainings, and I have all my millionaire team on there, and we plug you into a system that makes you a millionaire. That system is the vehicle, and that vehicle then puts wealth in your pocket.
And I'm glad, because like I said, I joined it, and it was it still is by far the best investment I've made.
I appreciate you.
It's an investment into myself, and I understand what you mean by when you realize that you're a brand.
Yes, sir.
And when I was in corporate, my background is in accounting and finance.
Oh, wow.
So when I was in corporate, the last job I really had was very popular. It's a very popular. The name is very popular down here in South Florida, and I assumed that identity, and so there was something for me to latch on to, feel like I was a part of something bigger than myself. But then I kind of outgrew the situation through personal development, my own awareness. What are some of the things that people can do then? Because I realize now I'm a brand, right? So I'm currently now a brand. What are some things that people can do, practical things, to help build up their brand?
All right, I got a call from Miami. All right, yeah. Here's some things you can do to build up your practical brand. All of you, in fact, let's do it. This is so practical. All of you need to take your primary source of income very serious right now. Even if you hate your job, your primary source of income, you need to take it very seriously right now, because the only way you're going to get to multiple streams of income is if people respect you in your primary source of income. I'm going to say that again. All of you right now need to take your primary source of income. I don't care if you work at I don't think Jack in the Boxes. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. I think that's global. I'm in the South. We got weird stuff down here. First off, Jack in the Box is the truth, okay? But anyway, I don't care where you work. You can be a janitor. When you take your primary source of income seriously, then people say, wow, Ivan, you was an accountant. What you doing next? I can't wait to follow you. And then you cross-pollinate from your primary source of income to the multiple streams of income. And then you bring that prestige to what you're doing next. So all of you are part of the Keep It Moving movement. It's respectable. It is a freaking radio show. It is amazing. And when he decides to do something different, you're going to then follow him because he took this seriously. That's the first thing all of you need to do. You need to take your primary source of income seriously. Now, here is how you become a personal brand. You recognize that you need to be a resource. I already said it, but people don't get it. You need to be a resource. Stop playing a short-term game. I have so much content on the internet that in 10 years, when people start realizing, in fact, when the economy crashes in about 1 year, I hope it's like 30 days, but in about 1 year, okay, well, that's a wealth talk right there anyway. In like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, when the economy does crash, it's going to bust. When it busts, people are going to Google, how do I start a business from nothing? Guess what they're going to find? Me. People are going to Google, how do I invest in stocks? Guess what they're going to find? Me. People are going to Google, how can I start a business? How can I be a millionaire? And they're going to find me. Play the long-term game, ladies and gentlemen. Put out content that is resourceful. And when people start Googling or researching or searching other things, they're going to find you. The last thing you can do to be a personal brand is give your information away. Oh, I'm trying to tell y'all right now. I had to sit up real quick because I don't think they felt me either. If you are one of the people withholding information, which is one of the laws of power, all these people on here watching, they're gonna see right through you. You're not gonna follow you. People aren't stupid. People don't want people using them, promising them these wolf tickets and all this. Hey, I'm going to tell you how great I am, but then as soon as you get in, I'm not going to be great no more. Don't nobody want that. Everybody's doing that. Give away 98% of your information. Right now, you've been listening to me. I done already gave you at least 6 to 7 figures worth of value. You know why? 2 reasons. For one, it separates you from the crowd. 2, 98% of y'all ain't going to do nothing about it.
True.
98% of y'all ain't gonna do nothing about it, right?
Very true.
And all I'm gonna do is just make myself look great by giving you all this information. And I know you ain't coming to replace me because 98% of you are gonna say, wow, and do nothing about it.
Right. And, I want to touch on something that you discussed about your primary source of income. Take it serious. I bashed being in corporate.
Yep.
A lot. When I've been out of it now for about 1.5 years, and I've bashed it, but I had to really stop and think here, when I say lately, within the last several months, and say, but hold on, if it wasn't for that last position that I held, then I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the credibility that I have. I wouldn't have the experience to say I can make you and a CEO over your life had I not assumed certain positions while I was in corporate and held certain positions and played certain roles and parts within that corporate structure to be able to understand what it is I'm telling you. So I like that, the fact that you have to take those things serious.
Yep.
The last part, the content, the value. Why do you think that 97, 98% of the people who hear it will not do anything about it? Or what?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I got 2 concise answers that are backed up with hard science. Concise answer number 1, you don't want to take responsibility for your life. You're so dependent on something outside of you to rescue you that you forgot you're your own rescue. Or you're saying things like, she made me do this, or you know how I am, you're making me mad. That's hard science psychology. That's thing number 1. Right. Concise answer number 2, very simple, super simple. Here's how it works. You, sir, you, ma'am, you, ladies and gentlemen, when you get to pain, you stop. That's not the way it works. When I had a job in the military. I was counterintelligence. I can say that because it's top secret. Okay, I was counterintelligence for the military, and they taught us that your brain will only let you do 40% of what you want to do, because the moment you get to some sort of level of discomfort, your brain says, nah, stop that. Don't do that, Ivan. That hurts.
Right.
Because your brain, for success for your brain, is just living. Your brain will keep you in a coma, defecating on yourself, urinating on yourself, for 25 years in a coma and be just fine with that, because you know what? We alive. The moment you experience pain, ladies and gentlemen, you're supposed to go past that pain. The only way that muscles get built are two ways. They get built through the nervous system by practice makes perfect, and then they get built by you tearing them apart, taking a 48-hour break, letting the muscles build on top of themselves, and then that's how they build. That's it. All of you are afraid to take responsibility of your life, and then you're afraid to meet pain. So what? Your lights got cut off. That's part of your success story. Go past, move forward, and you'll be successful.
And I agree with you, and great answer. And I agree with you that. And one of the things that I find, even with my clients, a lot of times is, those two things. One, they don't want to take responsibility, or they're finally at that point where they're ready to make a change, and they've encountered a little bit of pain, and the pain has gotten to the point to where, they're ready to move. Tony Robbins always says, the two motivators are pleasure and pain. Those are two main sources of change. And how then when you find somebody who encounters, so you work with entrepreneurs and businesses. So every entrepreneur and every business is going to encounter pain.
Yep.
How do you help them, therefore, to move forward?
Yeah.
As a business or as an entity, as a financial entity, meaning business, profit, loss, etc. So then how do you get that financial entity to move past that pain?
Yeah, that is the best question you've asked so far. Sigmund Freud, Edward Bernays, Sigmund Freud's nephew, they discovered that human beings do two things. And you just kind of mentioned Tony Robbins said. Human beings said that human beings move towards pleasure or from pain. That's it. That's all we do. If it makes us feel good, we move towards it. If it makes us feel bad, then we move from that. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, some of you were molested when you were kids. Your dad left you. And what has happened is your reward system has gotten backwards. You're now rewarded.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by your reward system has gotten backwards? What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. Anything that rewards you, you will continue to do. Anything. Okay. If it rewards you, you would do more of it. Unfortunately, some of you had abusive fathers and you're men. And the only way you can survive in your house is you had to be a boy. You had to be weak in order for your abusive father to reign supreme in the house. So in a sense, you were rewarded for being weak. Your reward was not getting hit that day. And your brain said, you know what? If I just stay passive, I get rewarded. I get to sleep without bruises. Now think about how scientific that is and how weird that is, but it's true. Some of you, your reward systems, they're backwards. So when you hit the pain that I've been asking this question, you've been rewarded for avoiding pain. How many of you right now have been you're in an abusive relationship right now? And if you have an opinion, you'll get abused for it. You see, that's painful. So you get rewarded for being quiet.
Yeah,
right?
You keep your mouth shut. Yeah, and keep going.
Exactly. Right. So now, as a grown person, you try to move forward, and you or your business hits this pain, but your whole life you've taught yourself, pain. Nope, don't do that. That doesn't reward us. What's going to reward us is just be silent, and it will eventually work out, or my comfort zone is better for me. So what I do to individuals is when I find out, because remember, we only move to pleasure from pain. And if you're not getting what you want, it only means that your reward system is messed up. So I teach people how to go past pain, and then right after that, you go, wow, that wasn't so bad. And then boom, you have a new reward system in your head. Maybe pain isn't so bad. Then I get you to do it again. You go, wow, that worked out a second time. And I convince you, go get a bunch of small little victories. And you get all those victories, you go, wow, victory really feels good. And then you get confidence and you say, wow, maybe what I thought I knew, I didn't know. And the moment I break that invisible social construct in your head, you have no more problems.
And you know, that's a great point. I like the fact that you create momentum with your clients, and that momentum is those small victories. You know, part of being a leader, right, and leading others, because as a coach, you're a leader. You know, that's
Yep.
just who you are. If you're hired as a consultant or a coach, you're in essence a leader, because you're trying to create or install or infuse something greater within that person that you've already experienced yourself. I love the fact that one of the things I do with my clients, and what I used to do with my staff, was just that at the very beginning of their training, the first thing I would do was set them up for failure. I wanted them to fail. That was the first thing I wanted them to do. I wanted them to fail because I wanted them to experience the pain of failing and being disappointed. And then the other thing I would do was, now through that failure, I've got their attention and made them humble. You know, so how much do you see of humility? And you've even kind of touched on it earlier, but I want you to kind of go back to it. You know, how much does humility play into into prosperity?
Yeah. Oh, super. Because you can only have humility if you're confident. Oh, hear me, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that's a good one. That
Weak
was a good one.
people,
That was a good one.
yeah, insecure people
Yeah,
don't have humility.
right.
And when
They
you're
have arrogance.
confident, yeah, exactly. Got plenty of arrogance, right? Plenty of that. You can only have humility when you're confident. So it's not necessarily the humility. Humility is half of it. The humility would then pour off on Ivan, and then Ivan and Antonio would say, wow, they make me feel so good. Let me join up with this person again. That's what the humility do.
Right.
But the confidence will go out before you and then bring back to you more things that will keep you confident. That's how beautiful this is. The humility will make people like you because people will only promote what they like. I hope y'all get that. People will
Right.
never promote who they don't like. That's what humility do. But you can't have humility without it take a whole lot of confidence to let somebody do something to you and you don't do something back. It takes far more confidence for you to be a great leader and then you let other people lead around you. And
Right.
even more so, it takes more confidence to even be a radio show host. I'm on the radio all the time, and you can always tell the radio show host with the least amount of confidence because their show is all about them
Right.
and
Right.
not the information that their audience can receive. So good job, Bob, because you're not one of those people, right?
I don't think so,
No, you're
but I
not. You're
also
not.
I also understand, how much, I don't want to say ignorance, but
Yeah.
how willing I am to say, okay, I think I have something to offer. I'm willing to get on, on this weekly show. I'm willing to present myself out there and put myself out there. There's people that know all kind of dirt on me, but that's okay. I'm willing to face it, but I'm willing to be transparent because I think there's something. I refuse to let my life be in vain. Almost Bob Marley. I just, I refuse for my life to be lived in vain. So that's why I do it. We're almost, we're almost at the end.
Okay.
What do you got in the works now that that you like to share with others?
Well, yeah, sure. So I haven't told anybody, but we just got a trademark so I can say it. I just started an accredited university, like the University of Houston or the University of Miami. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just started it, and then I gave my team a big chunk of it. And right now, it's valuated at $250 million and more. And the reason I'm bringing this up has nothing to do with the money. I am a kid from Galveston, Texas. I know y'all don't see color, but I'm a black kid. I don't even brush my hair the way y'all want me to because I like it being kinky. I am a kid that started soon to be a Division I university. That's insane. That don't make no sense. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because you can do anything.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Who grows up and says, you know what? I'm going to start the next D1 university. Nobody does that. Well, apparently I
Right.
did. Do anything. That's one of the things I got into work. And I've got a whole bunch of other stuff in the work. We just got that trademark, so I can say it out loud. You can't do nothing about it at this point, But
Right.
yeah, that's one of the things I got into work, man.
Now, one thing I know about what you do with your team, I think is very powerful,
Yep.
and empowering. What is that? You really, when you say that this is, if you're a team member, you're part of
Yep.
my team, and we're in this together. Explain to the listeners
Yeah.
what that really means and I'm asking this question as a business owner, right?
Okay.
And how
Good.
it can really, get other people to buy into
Yeah.
your business as an employee
Yeah.
and as an investor. So what is that thing that you do with your,
Yeah.
your staff, your team?
Yeah. In fact, this is now my favorite question for sure. For me, team means group economics. Me and my
Mm.
team share everything. And here's the crazy part, y'all. Here's the crazy part. I'm like Kanye West. Okay. Well, the old
Which
Kanye
one?
West. Okay.
Which one? Yeah.
Yeah.
But which
Yeah,
one?
I had to.
Which,
Yeah, that's a
couple
good question. I know, right? I know. I went out there with the Jesus walks and you know, I went out there with college dropout, and they didn't want to sign me. Check this out. I had people around me who left for no other reason but just leaving. I'm serious. My whole team is multi-millionaires. But there were people around me who left not because of my character, not because I did something wrong, because they did not want to change their character and do group economics. Think about that for a second. Think about the dude that broke up with Beyonce before she became Beyonce. Okay, think about
Yeah.
that. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about Adele's
But
ex-boyfriend
think
right
about how
now.
stupid Jay-Z was too, for almost
I
screwing
know,
her
right?
up too.
Yeah, definitely, right? It's crazy. For me, my team, when I say team, I mean group economics. Now, how that applies to business is because we share everything. The pyramid has been flipped upside down to where I'm supposed to be the boss and have all the power, and then they
Right.
respond to my power. I flip it. They have all the power, and I respond to their power. And when you
Mm.
build a company to where the lowest level can get an idea to you as fast as possible and change your culture on day one, when you
Right.
get to a level to where your team knows that when they come to work that day, they're also paying themselves far greater than a job ever could, that will most certainly change your income from six
Mm.
figures to 6 million. Team for me means Shannon, Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
Tempest, Jim, Michelle, Deanna, Will, and everybody else. Team means when you come here, I'm sharing everything. That's what it means here. And now we got Jason. Jason's actually on the team now too. So we're excited about Jason too. Jason's awesome. Yeah, just definitely Jason. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. That's it.
And that's one of I like the concept. I really do, and I think it's very powerful. One of the things I used to do as when I used to hire my staff, another thing, I would only hire certain people. There was just a certain trait that I was looking for, and that trait had to be leadership. I had to see,
Yep.
maybe they didn't see that within themselves yet, but I could see the leader within
Yep.
them, and that was the person that I always hired without fail. And the other thing that I did was I always told them, I'm gonna teach you everything I know because I want you to be able to take my job from me.
It's
Because if
good.
you're not able to take my job, then I'm stuck, right? I'm gonna be stuck doing the same thing. So I want to teach you everything that I know. So because it's gonna force me to grow better and to become better if I teach you everything that I know. Um,
Yeah.
I got 5 minutes left.
Cool.
We got got 5 minutes left, so I always kind of close it up. But one last thing. I don't know. I mean, I've got a million questions, but you know, just what's your summary? What's your
Sure.
last words for the listeners for today before I close it up?
Yeah. I would like everybody to know that we're all connected. There is no us out there and a us over here. There's just one.
Right.
And if you grasp that concept, you will make all the money in the world, because anything Ivan has, you already have. Anything I have, you already have. There's just one. Ladies and gentlemen, please hear me in the next 10 seconds and I'm done. If you treat everybody like they are God, like they are your child, this universe will treat you like you're God, like you're its child. Those are my summary thoughts.
I like that, and you know, so if I've enjoyed today's show, and today's show really didn't come about till yesterday. You know, I had on my calendar, okay, no show on July 4th, and so it was just, I was like, you know what, man, I'm just thinking about freedom and independence and so forth. I said, I can't think of a better thing to have a discussion around than freedom of finance and freedom of the mind. So I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate for the short notice, you know, invitation accepted from you, Antonio, and I really appreciate it. So, as you know, the show wraps up. I got about 3 minutes. I want to spend the next 3 minutes probably discussing my favorite topic, and that's my wife. Tomorrow is my anniversary, or our
All right.
anniversary. Yeah. And what she's done for me is freed me. She infused love into me. She taught me what love was. I was very jaded when I met her, and she'll tell you I put her through pure hell before I ever got any sense about myself and realized, okay, I can't let this woman walk out of my life. She showed me what unconditional love was. She showed me what compassion is. She showed me what sympathy and mercy is, and she showed me forgiveness. I would not be who I am without her, and I love her dearly. And she's sitting right here beside me, so happy anniversary early. But you know, she's my best friend. You know, she's my best friend. She's my lover. She's my confidant. I'd rather spend time with her than spend time with my boys or my partners or whatever. You know, I have more fun with my wife than I do with anybody else. And we've gone through a lot to make this relationship work. And we've gone through a lot to create a home that's full of love. You know, we have a home where people want to come to. People come here and they're at ease. They sleep, right? If you don't sleep at somebody else's house, you ain't comfortable. It's just that simple. But people come here and doze off on the couch. Why? Because there's peace here. There's love. There's harmony. There's joy. There's happiness. And it would not be that way without my wife. And I would not be the man that I am today without Claudia. And I love her more than you can. I'm stuttering. If that's any indication of how I feel about it. And I just want to say early happy anniversary, baby. I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. And I'm better because of you. So with that being said, hey, Independence Day, I want to wish everybody happy Independence Day, but also remember, there's 2 Independence Days within our country. The one is on July 4th and the other is on June 19th. Peace, baby.
It sure is.
Peace. Love y'all.
Love you.